Chris, my friends, what a pleasure to have you as the third guest of our The Journey Stories. You have been, I think you are our community member number two, but unofficially you were, I'm sure that you were the first people to got to know about this Journey Endurance Club. You
Yep.
were one of the first supporters. And by the way, let me start by really saying thank you so much for all your support till this moment. How are you today?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm
I'm really
I'm I'm
excited to be on,
incredible.
by the way.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I'm incredible. I'm feeling great, and I'm also grateful to have the chance to talk with you and to allow other community members and the trail running, ultra running community to get to know Chris Detzel, our ultra runner
That's
from
right.
Texas. And let's start from there. Where are you from?
Yeah.
How did you got into running? Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm wearing my Ragnar Ultra running shirt. So it's um, a race here, and it's close to Dallas. It's about 6 hours away. It's called the Hill Country, where it's really hilly and traily, and where three or four people get together and run a race, and we all run 32 miles each,
Oh
or
wow!
50k each. Anyways, so and I got a trail hat on too, so just for the occasion, my friend.
Wow! Love it! Love it!
But so yes, I live in Dallas, Texas, and my journey started. It really started, to be honest, in high school, but then it stopped for several years. And then when I was 37, so I'm 46 now. So when I was 37, I was a little bit overweight. I was, getting sadder all the time. I think I was going through a divorce at the time. And my brother, I've got a twin brother, by the way, and he encouraged me. He goes, "Chris, you used to be a runner and used to do all these things, and exercise. Why don't you just focus on yourself for a little bit?" And I remember from the high school days that running made me happy. It was something I was good at, and I needed to lose a little bit of weight, and so that's where the journey really began. To be honest, I mean, it stopped and then began again. And from then on, I started running. I started small, and I was like, let's just do a 1 mile, or I don't know, is that a 2K or 1.5K? Something, I don't know, whatever that is. And
One point
um,
six
1.6K,
K.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I would do that. I would run a mile, walk a mile for a day, every day for 5 days, let my body rest. And then I just kind of built up from that. And then my other brother, I have three brothers, but one of my younger brothers, like, but then like 3 weeks into it, hey, let's go do a 5K. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. And then, I did it. I was fine. And then I moved up to 10K, et cetera. And then, over the next few years, I got into half marathons. I did those kinds of things. And then one day, so I live in Dallas, and I was going on a work trip to San Francisco, California, and I thought, it'd be really cool just to run a half marathon on the weekend. So I had a friend that lives in San Francisco, and I just signed up for this half marathon. I didn't know anything about it. I just signed up, and it was a trail, and it was up this mountain close to San Francisco, and it was really difficult. It literally, like, I was in really good shape, and when I think of really good shape, I was probably in a 135 half marathon shape
Oh wow!
back then, and so I thought, I'm gonna kill this, and I was wrong, because one, I wasn't prepared for a trail, and I never even ran a trail, and this was somewhat, it was very mountainish, or for me it was mountainish, and so I think it took me almost 3 hours to run it, and I was like, oh my god, like, this is not what I was expecting. I'm a 135 or a 140 half at that time, and so um, but it was an awakening, but it was a lot of fun, and that's really where my trail journey began, and from there, um, I started encouraging others, like my current wife, and only hopefully from here on out, but but I wasn't even dating her, but I asked her to go run a trail run that was close to a few hours from Dallas, and she was like, "Yeah, okay," and that's kind of where we met. But basically, got her into trail running a little bit, and she took off on the trail running journey big time. She's done 160K and
Wow.
things like that. The most I've done is 50K, a few times, but
Uh-huh.
um, so that's really where the journey began. It was like started in California. Then I asked, wasn't even my girlfriend at the time, somebody I was interested in to run with me. She did, and then it just kind of escalated from there. And now I'm part of a great group here in Dallas called Dallas Dirt Runners (DDR). So if you're ever in Dallas, or they have a Facebook group there, I'm a big fan of theirs. I have my own DFW running group here in Dallas as well. But it's the trail running community to me is different, right? But one, running on the trails is just it's a beautiful sight. It's different. You have to watch your every step sometimes depending on the terrain and things like that. And then also the community itself, just you bond. It's like you and I.
Yeah,
We
true.
bond about not just trail running, but trail running brought us together in a sense.
Yeah.
And I think that running in general brings people together, but the trail is different.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
I love
You
it.
can
I
drink
love it.
beers, you can eat things like that. Does that
And
help?
let me just go back 15 seconds to what you said.
Yep.
And for example, I remember that in March, if I'm not wrong, you did the uh, half marathon or marathon in Texas. The
Half
cow
marathon.
half marathon.
Cowtown half marathon. Yeah,
Cowtown
it's a road
half
race.
marathon.
Yeah.
It was road racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so taking into account that, for example, your experience on road and then your transition to trail, what would you say that, because I don't know if you agree with me, like we know more and more people that, for example, finished already a marathon, but
Yeah.
now marathon is not enough. So they are looking
Yeah, that's
for
right.
like
Yeah.
the 30 miles, 50K, whatever races. So in your taking into account your experience and in your opinion, what's the biggest difference, and
Yeah.
what do you think that makes people want like
More.
transition from marathon to the ultra races?
I think there's a lot of reasons why, right? So one reason is road racing for me is about speed. I'm a very competitive person, and so I can run my fastest without even thinking about it, on the road, and um, but with that kind of speed and or whatever speed is to you, you can get injured a little bit easier, I think, just on training on the roads all day, every day, and things like that. So that's one reason people might go to the trail. I've been injured before, like, my calf or ankle hurts pretty bad, but then when I get on the, or knee, but when I get on the trail, that pain really isn't hurting, I'm not hurting anymore until afterwards, maybe, but, so
Marta,
it's
precisava uma coisa
softer,
minha?
it's cleaner,
Quanto
if you're not doing a bunch of
preciso?
rocks and things like that. So it's just a different style. Two, though, is what I find, and I don't know, I'm just gonna, it's my own opinion, but running with a lot of trail runners that do like the 160Ks, the 50 milers, what's 50 miles in kilometers, whatever that is, 50Ks, 100K, etc. Right? To go to that mileage of from like a half to full to all the way up to those other big distances, it's not that it's a challenge. So a lot of these people, to be honest, and here in my group, like literally 50 or 60 of these people that are insanely doing all these miles, not always, but seem to have other issues, right? And some of those issues could be maybe they used to be completely overweight, maybe they used to be a drug addict or an alcoholic or those kinds of things. I've found a lot of those people, probably 30 or 40% of people that I know, focus in on those runs and do running and just are just so you know, uh, that that they instead of doing these other bad things, they've substituted trail running and these long miles and to keep their mind focused in
Yeah.
on that, and they become obsessed with it, right? And so I'm not saying that's the only. Obviously, you have elite trail runners, but those are different people, right? I'm not, and they have to be somewhat insane to be able to do that as
True.
well. But I think that these people are generally over the top, and I have some of that. But to be honest, like I have no desire to go run 160K. I just or even 100K at the moment. Like I might go run a 50 miler one day. But it's just like those big distances are one, I have kids, two, I have a full-time job that keeps me, so me, doing maybe, 50 or 60K miles a week is enough. You know what I mean? Like, and so half marathons, maybe even a 30K at the most for me at the moment, for these next couple of years are probably going to be as much as I ever do. Right.
And but I really like the what you said that uh, like we see more and more people coming into ultras because it's not only because of running. There's so
Right.
much more behind it.
There's so much mental stuff.
Yeah, and I've actually talked about this with, for example, Ricky Gates and Carl Meltzer. What because I don't know. I would like to have your perspective on, for example,
Yeah.
American trail running. What would you, taking into account that you have so many races there, the types of terrain are also a little bit different. What would you taking into account the type of people that are starting to do more and more ultra running races?
Yeah.
What do you think that ultra running can bring to people? That's number one. And taking into account the type of people that is doing ultra running races, what would you love to see differently in the sport? And let me tell you why I'm asking this. We've talked about this already. So when you think about running, you think about going fast, and when you think
Yeah.
about when you think about running, you think about finishing first.
Right.
But ultra running is so much more than that.
Yeah.
So again, back to the question: um, what do you see in the American ultra running community? Number one. Number two, what would you think, or what you think that ultra running can bring uh,
Yeah.
differently or different to sports and to people that do ultra running
I
races?
think, with ultra running really is I guess when I think about it, it's about community, right? I'm a big community person, and the reason that I do it, and I see a lot of others do it, and is all about community, helping each other get to that kind of next goal. So if somebody's running 160K, they have pacers, and but even during the training kind of stuff, people are getting together, helping each other get to that next level, right? And it's all about, to me, when you get to those levels of ultra running and these higher mileage, it's helping each other. For example, in our DDR group, uh, they get together, and one of the things they like to do once a month, once every so often, is tire pulling, right? So they'll put a tire, they have a belt around them, and they'll have a tire, on the back, and they'll all run together with all these tires, all these miles, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Like, so that's one, and I think that it's about the community, and that's what brings them together, because they're all doing something crazy, and they all want to do it together, and it really does bring this cool kind of community together. So I think that that's what that brings. Two is what can trail running bring, and what do I see in trail running in America? Um, it's interesting. So, several years ago, trail running was kind of this exclusive way of, nobody really knew about it. It wasn't, let's say 10 years ago, I mean, people knew about it, but it wasn't just widespread. It's not, you know, uh, just, but now in America, it's taken off. Like you're seeing, like, let's just say in Texas, there's this one guy, he's a race director. And at the moment, he has like 10 or 12 different races or more, in Houston and Austin and San Antonio and Tyler, Texas, and all these places. And so, and he's used to, you would see like these races only being maybe 160K, a 50 miler, and that's it. But he's bringing a 5K, 12K, all these weird 20K, 30K, 50K, 100K, and then a 100 miler all in one day. Like he's doing all this in one day. And so he's bringing not just, the ultra, he's also bringing just the trail piece, right? The lower mileage and the higher mileage. And so that's, to me, starting to become here in Texas, and you're starting to slowly see it in other states as well, where it's taken off, where he's bringing more people together, and yeah, it's probably losing a little of that community piece, I think, because trail running has always been known for that. It's still doing that. It's still doing that in a big way, but now you have all these people that they'll come in, try this 5K, and you start seeing some of these trails being trashed a little bit in a way of trash and shit, but still, I mean, there's positives and negatives. The positive is that's bringing trail running to a lot of different people, and the negative is, yeah, I mean, there's some things that we have to work on as leaders in the trail running community to make sure that these people know that, hey, let's not trash the trails. Let's respect the trails. Let's not get on the trails when they close the trails. Don't sneak into it and that kind of stuff. So look, I don't know if that answers the question completely, but that's really what I believe is that one is trail running is becoming bigger than ever, than it ever has over the last few years. And I think overall it's a good thing, because we need to be out in the woods. We need to be thinking about nature and enjoying that. Yeah, I'm still competitive when I go out on the trail. I want to win still, but let's be realistic. It's just not going to happen most of the time, because there's people always faster than you, and that's for any race. And let's just enjoy it. Like that's really what it's about.
That leads me to that leads me to a question. Like, can you make a comparison of what was Chris after starting trail running? So after and the before. And why I'm asking this? What did you learn from going out to the trails?
Well, I think it's like anything, when you first start running, and that I didn't run the trails at first, I was all excited about that, because my body was changing. I lost literally 30 pounds, 35, I don't know, 30 pounds, I think, in a few months, 4 months. And I started feeling really good about myself and all these things. And so running brought that piece to me, and it also helped me get healthier, just because as you get, so before I was just kind of let's just call it a beginner runner, because I never ran, 13 miles or, a marathon, a half marathon or anything then. But then, trail running opened up a new opportunity for me. It's like, I thought there was just this running, piece on the road, but I never really thought about trail running. And when I did it, I was like, oh my God, like it's a completely different atmosphere. I feel it's more community-like. I mean, you didn't hear me talk about that, but it brought me to new people that I wouldn't have probably hung around with in general, and it made me realize that, a lot of us have some commonalities, and running in general, and especially trail running, brings more people together that you wouldn't, and hanging out, having beers, afterwards or whatever, and so, for me, it helps me to kind of like look at their lives. I have empathy and sympathy for a lot of these people, and I love their drive. I'm a driven dude, like I love to see people succeed. I love to see, I loved it when you accomplished this 4x4 48-hour thing, whatever it was. It was awesome, man. I mean, we were on Clubhouse talking or whatever, during some of your runs and stuff like that, and it brought us together. Like I get to see now people from all over the world. You're starting this really cool thing called the Journey, and now I get to talk to you. You're in Portugal, and I get to, at least once every few months, we get on the phone like this, have a conversation and things like that. And to me, that's awesome. And then when my wife and I go to Portugal, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna, you
Come.
know, yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, those are the things that I like to do. I love to see people all over the world. And I've been doing this for a long time. Just trail running. Like, I'll give you another example, and I'll stop there because I think it's important. So a friend of mine that I met from work several years ago. He lived in Annecy, France. So I don't know if you know where that's.
Yeah.
It's close to Geneva.
Hmm.
Beautiful place, Alps, everything else. And so he invited me over, and I took the chance. I was like, hey, yeah, I'll just go over to Annecy. And I've been now, 3 or 4 times already. But um, he has this kind of community of people that like to run as well. And so second or third time I went out there, we went to run on the mountains together just to have fun. It was him and 3 or 4 other people, some people from Scotland, some people from Canada, people from, France, of course. And so it was just really cool, to enjoy a mountain trail run with people that are way faster than me, but we're open. Like when you get in the mountains like that, and you're in Dallas and flatlands, and then you go to elevation. It takes you 6 months to get used to that. But anyways, it brings people together and it's fun, and I'll remember it forever. You know what I mean? That's what trail running brought to me is, and it still does. Is these relationships, and I'm a better person because of it. I felt like I was getting better person just doing running on the roads and stuff, but I don't know what it is about trail, but it changes lives. And then when you suffer through a 50K, I assume 100K since I've never done 100K or whatever, but watching these people suffer, being there for those people, maybe running the last 20 miles with these folks, or 10 miles or whatever, 10K, with them, to get them through, their stuff. I mean, it's just cool,
Magical.
It's magical. It
Magical.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Like I can tell you that sometimes when I'm just writing down stuff related to our community, and sometimes I ask myself like, okay, so what are the reasons why trail running connects people? And sometimes it's not easy to explain, and you kind of like repeat yourself because it's sometimes it's such an amazing thing that leaves you like speechless.
Yeah.
You need to experience to then be able to understand the reasons why you go out to the mountains, suffer, but in the end maybe you don't finish in the podium, but you win, you still win. So last one or two questions. So
Sure.
knowing that running, I don't know, like 50 miles or 100 miles is not yet your thing, can you just explain us briefly how is your training routine? You have any training routine? Do
Yeah.
you uh, do you just go out to run? Do you do any strength
Yeah.
stretching?
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your training routine?
Yeah, look, I think if you're training for some kind of, race, whether it's 50K, especially any of those, any past 50K, marathon, etc., you want to do well, you have to train and you have to have a plan. I think that's just in life, and so at the moment, I think with COVID for me, it's been kind of I haven't specifically trained for anything. Like I've ran some races over the last since I ran 2 races, January and one in March. You mentioned Cowtown, half, and they've both been halves. But I'm motivated by races. And so for me to get out there to run a 50K a week, is probably close to what I've been doing for the last year and a half, minus that sometimes. Sometimes it's a little less. Um, and I've been focused in just on getting out running. Now, a routine would look like for me is we have some running clubs here in Dallas, and one of the running clubs I'm a big part of is called Dallas Running Club. And Dallas Running Club has, they have uh, it's almost for anyone, running marathons, half marathons, etc. And so a lot of times, like at the moment, I'm a coach for the summer group. So we meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we do a lot of speed work. So I think it's important, as you kind of look at training. So my goal for this year is I'm looking at doing the Ragnar 50K again, potentially. I'm not 100% sold on that yet, but in
Go,
October,
go. Listen to my
maybe.
voice. Go.
I would like to. So, but there's other things and priorities that, might, but I'm with you. I would like to do that because it's a team kind of thing. We all go run about a 50K, not together, but
Mhm.
at different times. And then, I have some half marathons coming up. And so, my training for the summer, it's brutal here in Texas and Dallas because of the heat. I mean, it's literally, I don't know what it is. It's 90. It's going to be 97, 98 degrees today Fahrenheit. So whatever that is Celsius, is probably like 38, 37
Oh wow.
Celsius, something like that. Um, and so, it's brutal, but what I always tell the people that are doing this program is the nice thing about these summer miles is one, you're going to be speedy in October, November, whenever you do race. But two is don't don't look at what you do today in the summertime as kind of where you are physically, or mentally. So I think yes, if you want to be successful in any of these races, especially these longer races that these trail, one is if you're running a trail and you kind of look at that trail and it's 50K, 100K, whatever, 100 miles, um, you have to train on that type of terrain. Go out and do the training. Find a group that whatever motivates you, but you have to do the miles. You have to. If you don't, you're gonna fail. Don't set yourself up to fail, and then you're gonna hate it. Like why would you look? Trail running's hard. Running these long miles is hard, even on training. And if you go out there and don't train and do some bullshit, like look, it's just not gonna work out for you. So it's like anything. You gotta push yourself. Don't just think you can go do a 50K or 50 mile or 100K or whatever. Uh, just thinking you can do it. You can't. So
Okay.
my training is focused depending on the races, and I'll get more focused. Probably August, September, October. Right now it's just into August, September is just brutally hot. So
So, final question. Well,
sure.
it's not a question. It's kind of like a challenge. And
Ooh,
people don't know you, but professionally, you are a community manager. That's why you have already mentioned many times community,
community.
community,
Yeah.
community. So you are the real ultra runner community guy that
Uh,
connects not dots but
yeah.
runners. So my challenge for you is, so it separates in two things. So the first one is, what do you think that people can learn from you? So imagine that everyone who is watching us, they can reach to Chris Detzel because what they can learn from you. That's one. And the second
Yeah.
one, for those of the for the people who are watching us and are planning to start like an ultra or trail running races, what's the message that you'd like to leave to them? Like you should start running trail running races, or challenge yourself in a ultra running race because, and then you complete.
Yeah. Look, I think for me, it's all about consistency. So if you stay consistent and you want to run a 50K or whatever that distance is, then I would encourage you to do it. We can do it. You can do it. It's just a matter of train properly. Just don't overextend yourself at first, but push yourself. It's all about what can you do. What can your body do? We can do amazing things. People are doing it every single day. Why not you? But you have to put in the work. You have to focus. I'm all about getting shit done. Like whether it's professionally, whether it's in my personal life, running, marriage. You know what I mean? Like it's all about putting the work. You don't put in the work, then you're going to get results. So I if you take one thing from me is that I want to motivate others and tell others, this is, you know, focus, keep going, stay consistent. And you know what? If you mess up one day, you don't do a run, it's okay. None of us, for the most part, except for who Francisco is talking to, but most of us aren't elite trail runners. We just have to get there. We have full-time jobs, we have all these things, and if you start doing those things, your mental state becomes better. Your your the way you eat, the way you train, everything changes. If you're serious about it. So I think that if you take anything from me, I like to be around people. I like the community aspect of these 50Ks, but you know it's just really all about consistency. I don't know if I answered that or gave it kind of
I
this
love
final
like
thought, but
we can somehow like just make a take a keyword from what you said, like be consistent, and in the end get shit done. You can
yeah.
do it, right?
Exactly. You
Love
can
it.
you can do it. You can. We all can. It's just at the end of the day, yes, it's training. You have to put in the work. I'm not saying that. But you know what? That last 20 miles of a 100 miler, the last 10 miles, or even the last 6 miles of a marathon, is always the worst. And that's where you're mental. Yes, you're hurting. Yes, but you know what? You can get there. You know what I mean? Like you can do it if you put in the work. It's
You
just the way it
are
is.
you are such like you are a real community guy. I love that. I love that because uh, like just like you said, maybe in the near future you won't go for the those longer distances, but you know how to push people. You know how to
Yeah.
support people. You know how to bring the energy, and I'm sure that you are one of those guys that you finish a race, but you stay in the in the finish line just to support the ones that come after you.
Hey,
So
I look, my wife is a big ultra runner. She's done, a couple 100 milers, and she signed up for another one, and she's done several 50Ks and 50 milers and 100Ks. So I don't go run those. I go and support her. But the nice thing about that is a lot of our friends are at these races too, and so I get to support them and help them if I can. Like just didn't say go go go. Like there's but it's a lot of fun. It's what I like to do, and so yes, I run. I'm a runner, and I don't. If I'll say this one last thing because I think it's important. Years ago, my wife was and I were talking, and we were doing the road, racing, and so I've been training for marathons, and I've done 3 marathons, so it's not that I haven't done them, but I was always complaining about how long the training is. I don't want to go run this marathon. I'm dreading this marathon. And she stopped there and she goes, Chris, then why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, don't go out and dread something, And so when I made that mindset up, I don't really want to run marathons, but I'm really good at halves. I could do some 30Ks on the trails. I could do, you know, again, I've done like 3 or 4 50Ks. So it's not that I haven't done, ultras, um, but you got to find your sweet spot. And when you find that sweet spot, I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and challenge yourself because you should. You should see what it's like to do the 50 milers or 50Ks or ultras. You should. And I'll do another ultra. There's no doubt in my mind. But for the most part, I'm not doing ultras every week, every month, or every 6 months. I'm doing half marathons. I'm doing 20Ks, 30Ks, 25Ks. That's what I'm doing. And that gives me enjoyment because I'm not dreading it. So stop doing something that you dread, and then go back and enjoy it. That's
yeah,
what running's about. Because
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's keeping me healthy. It's keeping me somewhat thin. As you get older, man, it gets hard.
yeah. No, I
So
love that. I
anyway,
love that, and that's I believe personally that's also one of the best things that running brings to people is that when you love it and you turn and it's not like you go out to have fun anymore. You just
yeah,
run because Yeah, you love to
You
run.
feel like you have to, yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
in the end, body maybe will break, and that's not good.
yeah.
So yes, go out, but have fun. In the end, have fun.
I mean, that's
Um,
what it's about, man. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like in the end, yes, yeah.
push yourself, do the best you can, and yeah, hey, if you have that aspiration to do 100 miles or 160K, go do it. But train, focus, get it done. You know, like you have that mindset, go do it. You know, yes, I encourage you to do it. You know, but if you hate every part of it, and you know, but you know, people still hate it and still go do it. You know, and that, you know, I don't know. I don't want to hate it.
With your energy, I feel that after this conversation, I need to put my shoes on and go out and run
You should,
because I love that energy. Chris, thank you so much for your time.
of course.
We will of course have the chance to talk more. Thank you so much for the energy and for the experience and support that you bring to the community. Let's keep in touch. You know already that you can
Definitely.
go. We got your back.
You do, and I appreciate that, my
Thank you.
friend. All right, take care, man.
Thank you.